A baby gave Hitler the inspiration and the idea, which led to the death of around 200,000 persons. He didn't do it intentionally, of course, as he was 5 months old, and he lost his life for it. The story is sad and interesting, so make sure to stick around until the end. The baby's name was Gerhard Kretschmar. He was born with some physical disabilities to the extent that he was called a monster, not by Hitler, but by the baby's parents. When his parents saw his condition, they realized it is impossible for him to have a normal life, and they decided to go around asking for an authorization to give him a mercy killing, which is basically a way to kill a person to end his sufferings, whether it's mental or physical. And did they succeed in getting that medical permission? No, their local doctor refused. They couldn't get a medical permission to allow this to happen, and that's when they decided they need some help. So, they approached Hitler himself for such a permission. Hitler at the time was the leader, and he had the means and the power to give the green light for such a horrific act. Therefore, Hitler decided to call his physician, Karl Brandt, to check the baby, before he came to the result that it would be better for Gerhard's life to end, probably through lethal injection, rather than continue his life struggling between his disabilities. After that, Hitler decided to do the same to kids who have some sort of disability that preferably shouldn't be passed on, generation after another. And this poster was part of the propaganda. It says, 60,000 Reichsmark is what this person suffering from hereditary illness costs the community in his lifetime. Fellow citizens, that is your money too. This sinister saga did not unfold overnight. It was a gradual descent into darkness that began with the passing of a law. The Law for the Prevention of Hereditary Diseased Offspring in 1933, the Nazi, the gift that keeps on giving. At first glance, the law seemed aimed at sterilization, which was true. But it was the beginning of something more psychologically disturbing. The sterilization was forced on the mentally ill, schizophrenics, epileptics, and even chronic alcoholics. This drew the first blood, which would then start a period of great cruelty in the years that followed. But where did they do all of these? If you were passing by the street and saw this clinic here, you might not notice anything weird about it, because from the outside, it's just a regular clinic. But from the inside, it's a killing center, the Hadamar Center. You go deep in history. Few places reveal the depth of human cruelty as much as this place, which appeared ordinary from the outside, but held within its walls a chamber of horrors that became ground zero for the Nazi euthanasia program. Simply, Hitler had a problem. He didn't like some of the Germans, and the non-Germans, he felt that some of them are useless, like the mentally and physically disabled, or the ones that have incurable diseases such as epilepsy. Since they can't contribute to the success and development of the German nation, then Hitler is better off without them. But the question now is, how to get rid of them? By what means and how to justify it? And that's where we begin. It was all implemented through one program with one aim. 6 clinics were designed to let patients come in, alive, and let them go out as ashes. Behind the closed doors of these facilities, screams were silenced too quickly to be heard. Sadness, bodies, ashes, and pain taking place under the ears and eyes of doctors and nurses. But, to justify bringing kids there, the authorities cleverly manipulated the desperation, coaxing parents to entrust their disabled children to the Hadamar Center for an effective medical care. This was the bait, behind which unimaginable atrocities unfolded. The program's momentum only escalated from there. With each passing day, it consumed youth and adults alike, spreading its evil plans and dark ideas across the region. It became known as the T4 program, a chilling reference to Tiergartenstrasse 4, the very address from which this nightmare emerged. Inside these killing centers, death came in 3 forms: lethal injections, starvation, and the cold efficiency of gas chambers. Each method is a nightmarish chapter in the program's grim playbook. While lethal injections and starvation might have seemed slow by comparison, the efficiency of the gas chambers emerged as the cost-effective solution to the logistics of a program dealing with a staggering number of victims. Usually, patients were transferred to the facilities before being examined by doctors, and then it doesn't take much time until they are transferred naked to the chambers where they are told they will take a shower to be disinfected. The process then takes around half an hour until the screams stop. The Hadamar Killing Center came to an end at the end of World War II, when the American soldiers arrived at the institution on their way to central Germany. The Hadamar killing center became one of the first liberated killing centers. But sadly, the liberation came after lots of lives have been lost. Inside the Hadamar killing facility, the euthanasia program was implemented, and it would go on to claim the lives of 15,000 innocent people, victims of a cold and calculated ideology that deemed them a burden to society, financially and socially. They were, as perceived, a threat to the German gene. A life was considered life unworthy of life, and this life didn't even get a chance to die in peace alone or among its loved ones. But only the fact that this life is breathing makes it heavy for the society to bear. As we think about these terrible things, it's important to remember that the impact of the T4 program's cruelty reached way beyond just what was happening at that time. It was like a dark warning of the even worse things that happened during World War II, a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for malevolence. In today's world, as we navigate our own challenges, the lessons of history remain as poignant as ever. The tale of Hadamar compels us to remember, to learn, and to ensure that such darkness is never allowed to cast its shadow again.